Okay, let's continue with question number 15. Mina used her scientific drawing skills to draw and label her diagram based on her observation of a real flower shown in figure 10. So this is figure 10. And figure 10 is an image of a flower. And when they scan it into the exam paper, it becomes black and white. So let's take note of the keywords there. Scientific drawing and observation. Observation means what you can see in the flower. So this image is not as clear, but you can see that there are what do you call it? Three stigma at the center, followed by a petal here, one at the center, and one at the side, like that. And let's have a look at the choices given there. Which of the following best represent a scientific diagram of a flower? First and foremost, when we want to see a scientific drawing, we don't actually look for a realistic drawing. We want a clear drawing so that we can see the different part of what you observe. And from what I can see immediately that I know the answer. First of all, have a look at A and C. We don't label using arrow, nor we label using this dotted line, so these two are totally out. Other than that, we also don't sketch for the drawing. You can see that there's a lot of broken line here and there. This is what we call sketching. We want one solid line as we draw our what we observe. We also want to avoid any shadows, so you can see shadows here and there, so this one is omitted as well. But the labeling is nicely done. We just want a line like that without any arrow, line and level. That's all that is needed. And with that, D is the best choice. You can see the labeling there, here, and you can see labeling of the petal, and you can see three petal labeled properly with the three stigma as well. Not three stigma actually, three different part of flowers. So you're gonna learn that this one is the stigma, and these two at the side is actually anther, which is the male part of the flower. Okay, so the answer is D. Again, let me remind, no broken line or sketching and no shadows, and the labeling shouldn't have any arrow like that or dotted line or crossover like that. It shouldn't be like that. It should be nicely done like in D. Next one, question number 16. Figure 1 shows different level of organization of cells in a human. Which of the following order is correct level organization of cells? So it means that it changes from simple to complex. And the simplest one is this one, which is a cell, a basic unit of living things, which means that all living things must have cells. After cells, this cell will be grouped together to perform a specific function, and that's what is called as tissues. So tissues are group of cells. And different kind of tissues can work together to become organs. So for example, heart is an organ and it's made up of several tissue. There is muscular tissue, there is cardiac tissue, there's elastic tissue, different kind of tissue combined together to perform one function. And your heart, the organ, is part of this whole thing. You have the heart, you have the blood vessels, and when a group of organs are working together, we call that as organ system. And every organism will have all of these. So if you arrange in complexity, it will always start with number 1. So all of it start with number 1, followed by number 4, which is tissue. So you can see that this one is out, and therefore the answer is clearly D. And then followed by number 3, which is the organ, and number 2, which is the organ system. Then let's continue. Number 17, two scientists, scientist A and scientist B, discover a mystery cell. So, which means that this cell is something new. Shown in figure 12, scientist A believed that the mystery cell is an animal cell, and scientist B believe it's a plant cell. So A believe it's animal cell, B believe it is a plant cell. What is the reason for scientist A to believe it is animal cell? And what is the reason for scientist B to believe it's a plant cell? Now let's draw animal cell first. Animal cell is very simple. You have your cell membrane, you have your nucleus, and you have cytoplasm. That's it. So let's just label it. This is the most basic labeling for animal cell. 3 component cell membrane. And for the plant cell, you have all these things, and the shape is more rectangular. Let's draw it. And also have nucleus, but additionally you also have extra layer on the outside, which is called cell wall for plant cell. And plant cell also have this extra water component called vacuole. As usual, this one is the nucleus and cell membrane and cytoplasm. And in cytoplasm there is one extra component, especially for plant cell, that you found in leaf, and these things are called the chloroplast. So these 3 components, cell wall, vacuole, and chloroplast, can only be found in plant cell. No animal cell should have that. Okay, now let's have a look why the scientist A and scientist B are debating. If you look at the diagram there, it only have one layer, which means this must be the cell membrane. And all cell must have cell membrane. And you can see this one here, it should be a nucleus. And this one could be a vacuole. And this one is chloroplast, a lot of chloroplast there. Let's have a look at the choice. So the one that we should pay attention to is the one that talk about plant cells. And scientist B say it has cell wall. As I mentioned, there's only one layer there, so cell wall is not present. And then mystery cell has chloroplast. We can see several chloroplasts there, so that one is acceptable. Again, cell wall is not, and chloroplast is a yes. So the best choice is B and D. And scientist A only debate it has cell membrane. So it does have cell membrane, and again it doesn't have cell wall. Therefore the best choice for this one is B. But if you look at the debate, I would say that scientists B have a better argument, because there is chloroplast there, and both plant cell and animal cell have cell membrane. But it's not for us to debate. Right? Question number 18. One of the effect of forces, there are 3 effect of forces, is changing the direction of moving objects. So this is one, changing the direction. Study the list below. Number 1, change the shape of an object. Yes, when you apply force, you can change the shape of an object. Change the speed of moving object. Yes, let's say an object is moving towards you, and then you apply force, the speed will change, whether it slows down or become faster. Change the mass of an object. Nope, not possible. Then stop a moving object. Yes, it's possible. When you stop a moving object, you're talking about speed. So change speed, change direction, and change shape or size. These are the 3 main effective force. Mass. is the one thing that it should not be able to be changed. So which item in the list are also the effect of force? So the answer is 1, 2, and 4 only, which is 1, 2, and 4. Therefore, the answer is C. Number 19. Malik carried out an experiment to find out how different surfaces A, B, C, and D affect the distance moved by a 200-gram wooden block. So there is A, B, C, D, and there's 200-gram wooden block, and they want to see how different surface affect the distance of this object. The same amount of force was applied to the wooden block as indicated in the arrow. Which of the surface produced the most friction? Now, friction means a force that opposes movement, which means that if an object tries to move forward, friction will go against it and will slow it down. So the higher the friction, the less it can move. So if you look at A, B, C, and D, it's quite obvious that A has the most friction because it stopped here. You can see that it moved further as we go towards D. Therefore, the answer is A. Keep it simple. Don't overthink. Number 20. A worker lifted a 5 kilogram concrete block into lorry of height 1.5 meter in 3 minutes. I'll circle all the numbers so that I can take note. There's 5 kilogram, there's 1.5 meter of height, and the time is 3 minutes. Next, he lifted 20 kilogram of a concrete block into a lorry at the same height, also 1.5 meter and 3 minutes. So again, just circle it just to see the similarities as shown in figure 13. Which of the following is correct? The work done, the work done, the work done, the work done. So all the choices involve work done, and you should memorize this formula. Work done is equal to force. Force means the things that you use to move the object, and the distance means how far does the object move as a result of your force. If you don't have force or distance, it means no work is done. For example, let's say you apply one force, but the object moves by 0. 1 times 0 will become 0. Or the other way around is also the same. If the object moved by 1 meter, but you apply 0 force, 0 times 1, the work done is still 0, because it doesn't make any sense. Work done means the work has been done, which means that it must move somewhere as a result of your force. Now, there's two objects. One is 5 kilogram and the other one is 20 kilogram, and the distance for both are the same, 1.5 meter. And on Earth, 1 kilogram is similar to 10 Newton as a result of gravity. So one of the object is 5 kilogram. So if 5 kilogram means it will be 5 times 10, meaning 50 Newton, while the other one, 20 kilogram, will be 20 times 10, which become 200 Newton. You see where I'm going? So since the force is already different, of course that in the end the work done will be different, and definitely 20 kilogram will be more. So the work done is less for 5 kilogram because the mass is less, therefore the final force is also less. Therefore the answer is B. Number 21. Study the diagram in figure 14. You have one high heel and you have sports shoes. Why do high heel shoes damage the floor more than the sports shoes? The obvious answer is this object here. So if you look there, it's the area become very small. When area is small, it becomes concentrated. The force is concentrated. When the force is concentrated, it means that you will feel all the force at that one point. And as a result, when the force is concentrated in that small area, you will create more pressure. So the smaller the area, the more the pressure. Small surface area, more pressure. A. And if you look at the sports shoe here, what happens is that the force will be spread out evenly in the shoes. So you will not feel as much pressure from the shoe here because it's spread out evenly. This will create some sort of pressure, but most of it will be concentrated in the heel there. Okay, that's why the answer is this one. The smaller area, the more the pressure. The larger surface area, the lesser the pressure. So this one is for the sport shoes. A. Again, let's have a look at the question. Why do high heel shoes damage more? So the answer is again, high heel has smaller surface area and produce more pressure. Number 22. Figure 15 shows a student using a slingshot. So slingshot means it's you pull a rubber and it will create an elastic force. Which form of energy is possessed by the rubber band before it is released? So as you pull it, what happens is that all the energy will be ready on standby, and this energy is what we call as potential energy. So potential energy means the energy is stored, it's ready for it to be released, and when you combine these two things, it becomes elastic potential energy, which is B. Chemical potential is energy stored in foods, in battery, anything that you store that will require chemical reaction for it to be used. This one doesn't require any chemical reaction. It only requires elastic object. In this case, it's rubber band. C. Gravitational potential energy. It involves gravity, which means that the higher the object, higher the location. Oops, forgive me. Let me spell correctly. The higher the location, location, location of the object, the higher the gravitational potential energy. Therefore, the answer is B. Kinetic here refers to movement. So here we don't have any movement, we just pull it and then get ready for it to be released. So the answer is B. Number 23. Figure 16. Show what happened when a matchstick is burned. Before burning, there's nothing. During burning, of course, there's fire. So basically, there's chemical reaction there. What is the main energy changes that take place when matchsticks is burned? So matchstick has energy that is being stored. So we say it has potential energy. And when it's burned, like this one, there's fire. It means there is chemical reaction. So fire is actually chemical reactions. So when you combine these two things, it means that those matchstick has chemical potential energy. So if we look at the choice, we can see that A and B has chemical energy. It's actually chemical potential energy. So we remove C and D. And if you look here, there's fire, and obviously when you have fire, you get heat energy. Therefore, the answer is A. Number 24. A soccer ball rolls down the slope as shown in figure 17. Which of the following correctly describe the kinetic energy as the potential energy of the ball as well as the potential energy of the ball as it rolls down? So there's two things looking for. One is kinetic energy. Second one is potential energy. In this case, you can see that the ball starts on top and it ends at the bottom. So it's talking about gravitational potential energy because the object is moving from a higher place to a low ground. Gravitational potential energy. And then as the ball move down here, of course, as a ball roll, it will definitely move faster. Therefore, kinetic energy will definitely increase. So A and B is up. And potential energy, as the ball rolls down there, it has lose its gravitational potential energy. Therefore, it will decrease. Therefore, the answer is D. Which of the following are the result of drug abuse? Abuse means misusing the drug. Drugs are any substance when taken into the body changes the way the body and brain works. Drugs can be medicinal, which we get from our hospital, but it can also be harmful, especially when you abuse it. So when you abuse drug, it can lead to addiction, definitely can lead to addiction. It can cause transmission of diseases, especially uh, diseases such as AIDS or hepatitis, which can be transferred from one person to another by change of body fluids or a contaminated needle. And three, escape from problems. No, when you do drugs, you will have more problems. You will not be able to escape from problems. So drug abuse will lead to addiction and transmission of disease and actually more problem. Therefore, the answer is A. Number 26. Which form of drug abuse will increase the risk of infection with HIV? So again, HIV you get from transmission of body fluids, and usually this happen through infected needle. When they share the needle, what happens is that the blood will be stuck in the needle, and then when you transfer it, the person will get the disease again. So infected needle means through the means of injection, which means the answer here is D. Cigarette will not lead you to HIV. It's not possible. Drinking alcohol may lead to, but there's a lot more step. What happens is that when you drink alcohol, you cannot think properly, and it can lead to the problems which lead to risk of infection with HIV, but not always. But if you inhaling solving fumes, not really, because that one will go to your respiratory system. Again, injection will talk about your blood, which can be transferred through infected needle. Therefore, this is the best choice for this question. 27. Nicotine and tar are two of harmful substances present in cigarette smoke. What are the effects of nicotine and tar? So these are the things you need to memorize. Nicotine is an addictive substance. That is the first thing you look for. But if you look at the choice there is nothing about addiction. And tar is a substance that can lead to lung cancer. When we talk about cigarette smoke, always search for lung cancer or lung disease first. And if you look at the choice there, A, C, and D don't really talk about lung. So this is a very good hint. Therefore, the answer is B. And nicotine do increase the blood pressure. Therefore, the answer is B. Question 28 onwards you haven't learned, so I'm going to cover that in the future. Alright, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.